This is JR Tech and Software.
Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the first release of my Bash for Windows project. Now, if you recall, a few months back I had to take a little bit of a break from YouTube. This is what I worked on. It is up on GitHub. If you go to my About page on my YouTube channel, you'll see a link to GitHub here. And all you have to do is click on my Bash for Windows repository and you can get yourself here. And you can see all the code behind the installer files that I use and how to install Bash for Windows. And all of the code itself here in this Bash for Windows folder in this repository. And I'm going to be keeping this repository up to date as I keep on developing this more. Alright, so you can learn a bit about Bash for Windows in this README. There's several READMEs throughout the whole installation process. This just gives a really quick summary, also tells you how to install and uninstall it, and also gives you the licensing. This is on all the code here is under the MIT license, so you don't really have to worry about much with this code, about what you can do with it. And so yeah. So if you want to go ahead and install, what you're going to want to do is go to the right hand of the screen here and click and go to this releases tab here. You'll also see the latest release right there. We'll just wait for it to load here. And go ahead and go to the latest release here and go ahead and click on the zip file here. This is a zip file containing all the files needed to install this, and it's going to take a little bit to download here, so I'll just kind of give that a quick second. Alright, and that's all done. So now we can just go ahead and go into our downloads folder here, and then it's Bash for Windows install files version 2. And you'll see in this zip file you get a README here. If you go into the first folder, here's a rich text format README document here, which gives more instructions about how Bash for Windows works and more instructions about the installation of Bash for Windows. Also gives you a nice link to my GitHub here in the file notes. I'm gonna be kind of explaining through this whole thing and what my thought process was behind the install here. So what you're going to want to do is go and extract that folder there, and you can go ahead and head into this folder here, and again there's that README here. So the main thing, one of the main things behind this installer is if you tell it to, it's going to write out all the code files right where they need to be for you to modify whenever you want to, and I'm going to get more into that later here. But what you're going to want to do if you start installing, you don't want to hit startup, you're going to want to hit setup, and it is going to need to be ran as an administrator, so it's going to come up with a user account control prompt here, but you're going to just allow that. And it'll come up in this command line window. It's not like an install shield setup wizard or like a self-extracting exe file here. It's gonna come up with its own thing here that I programmed that you can see all the code for in that GitHub project. So go and just hit enter here. It gives you a brief description about what Bash for Windows is and what it's meant to do. So if we go and hit enter here, hopefully, if my keyboard will work. Maybe my keyboard doesn't want to work. Let's get out of full screen mode here and try this again. So I'm going to enter it. There we go. And it's going to give you the MIT license. Just go and accept that by hitting Y and enter. And now it's going to ask which personal folder. So what folder do you want to install Bash for Windows into? And everything is going to go into this folder. So if you go and hit this PC, go into your C drive, sorry, not Windows, users, and then a user account that you're logged in under. You can install it on any of these directories. So we're just gonna go and install it onto my desktop because that's fine. I don't see any reason why we can't. And it's gonna give you some options here, so you can do the normal installation or the minimal installation. Now this is where we get into like the differences, like if you want to all the code that comes with it to be written out for you, or do you want it to only copy the bare essentials, which is the startup file there. And we talk more about it in the README, but pretty much what I want this to be Bash Windows to be able to do is, if you are comfortable with it, you have the Python interpreter installed on your system, I want you to be able to change Bash Windows any way you see fit, completely offline. You don't even have to go up to GitHub and do a git clone to download the repository. You don't have to do that. It is all on your system right here. So that's what normal installation does, and you can modify it however you want. And I'm gonna get more into that later. And so normal, what this does is it's just doing exactly what I described to you. It's gonna make an offline copy of all the code that runs Bash Windows. And what also gives you is a little bit of a flowchart of how, where the user is guided throughout, like which files gets executed at which times, which I included in there because I thought it'd be helpful. Bash Windows works in a little bit of a different way. It's not all one file. It goes through many different files which contain a bunch of lines of code. So I put that in there to help you out with that. So that's a normal install. But then there's also the minimal install, which doesn't come with any of that and only copies over the binary code that got compiled, which is that startup.exe file. By the way, this file needs not be changed at all. You have to keep it the way it is. Don't rename it. Don't do anything like that. And make sure that it is in the same folder as the setup.exe file is. Alright, those are the only two requirements. And the installer is going to tell you if you mess that up, if it can't find the startup.exe file. Because it needs to copy that file over to where you want to install it to. Alright, so minimal doesn't come with offline copies of the code, and it does not include that flowchart, but you do get a fully working copy of Bash Windows. So I'm gonna go with the normal installation right now. If you aren't familiar with Python, or you don't want to change the code, or you don't want the extra disk space to be taken up, then you can go ahead and hit M and choose the minimal installation. I'm going to choose the normal installation here. It's going to tell you exactly what it's going to do, what directory, what folder even it's going to create to install everything in. And are you sure you want to install Bash Windows? You can hit yes, and it is going to install. If you want to cancel it at any time, you hit Control+C, and it is going to abort it. It won't clean up all the files that it copied over and stuff, but it will abort it for you. So, what do you want your username to be? Just enter it here. Now, this is a bug that I know about. Is if you most usernames cause Bash Windows to error out, but on startup, I'm gonna work on fixing that. But I'll get into that later, but you can just choose your username here, whatever you want it to be. So I'll do JR Tech, actually just JR, and my password will be Tech there, and it is going to finalize it, and Bash Windows setup is complete, so we can hit enter, and it's going to exit out of the installer for you. So now if you want to, you can go ahead and delete the installer files folder. Alright, and this bash for Windows folder is where it installed to, so we'll click in there. You have another readme file if you want to take a look at that. This is more of how bash for Windows works and what isn't in bash for Windows quite yet. So if we exit out, all you have to do to start is go and double click the startup shortcut there. It installer automatically creates a shortcut to startup.exe here. You'll see it does take a little bit to start, but come into here, JR and tech. Now the password is not hidden. I can't find a way to do that, but to be honest, you don't really necessarily need a password if you don't want to. This is all going to be protected, of course, by your Windows account. So if you have to be logged into Windows to be able to use bash for Windows, of course, so I wouldn't really worry about the safety of your credentials here, because you need to at least be in Windows to have everything. I just kind of included that to make it more bash-like, to almost make it like it's an operating system running bash for Windows. But to be honest, all you need is your username. You don't really need a password. The only thing that the username is for is to make sure that it stores your data in the right directory. So we are going to go and clear the screen here and see if yes, Windows 8. Anything below Windows 10 has the weird thing where you can't full screen the command line window. So you have most of our bash commands here. You can see typing in pwd. This is what the home directory is. It's C users test machine, which is the host name of this virtual machine. Desktop bash for Windows. Actually, that's the username. Never mind. Bash users, and then the username that you have here in bash for Windows. So you can go ahead and type ls there, and that's everything that you have in your home directory there. And if we cd into documents there, if you have a normal installation, it automatically comes with the modify code notes, and no matter what, it'll come with that same readme file that we can go ahead and print out here. So you might want to give a read through that if you want to, but if not, that's okay. It does have a huge section on the difference between bash for Windows and just regular bash if you want to read through that. So the other thing we have is modify code notes. This only comes with the normal installation. So if we can go ahead and cat modify code notes. By the way, hitting the space bar to put a space in here doesn't necessarily work as you might expect it to. Alright, you have chosen normal install, which includes all the code for you to modify. If you want to look at and or modify this code, you might want to know how it works to more easily modify it. If you don't want to modify anything, you can simply delete this file. So if you don't want to modify any of the code, you can go ahead and delete modify code notes.txt. So here's a visual. This is a flowchart that I was talking about. It doesn't format correct the best here. If we can type in nano modify code notes.txt, and all that's going to do is open it up in Notepad. So you can see here, once we execute startup, it's going to check if you're running Windows, and it's going to check to see that if the file system is intact, and if so, it's going to repair it. So this is just making sure that all the directories that it expects to be in its place is where it needs to be. If not, it calls repair.python. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. You can go and check that out, but I think it helps if you want to modify the code. It helps for you to know how everything goes. So yeah, go and check that out if you want to. I don't actually know if I have the Python interpreter installed on this virtual machine here, But if we go into bash source include, you can see all of the Python files are in here. So if we want to, for example, modify the bash.python file, let's go ahead and see. We can actually do this inside bash windows here. So if you cd dot and we go into pwd there. So cd dot looks like ls. You can see here we also have the root directory. This is just root of bash for Windows. But if we cd into bash /bash /source /include, you'll see all the code there, and then we can go ahead and type nano. This also works like VI, Vim, and Emacs. They all pretty much open up Notepad. But if we nano bash.python, you can see we have an offline copy of all the code that runs. This is only a chunk of the code that runs bash for Windows. But yeah, you can all see that all here. And I have double checked it when I compiled this, that this code does indeed work. There's no issues with this code. This is the exact code that is running on your system. It's just printed out for you like this. So if I don't have the Python interpreter installed on this virtual machine, but what I could do here is, let's say that I wanted to go ahead and add it to be able to let's see here, how does Notepad want to space this out? Just using this, okay. So okay, so if we go and do a few spaces to get up here, if we do elif command, because that's the input that the user typed in, equals winver. So if the user typed in winver, do os.system, because the os library is imported by default, winver. Alright, so, and then we can save that, and then if we had the Python interpreter installed, what we could do is simply get out of our current bash Windows system, and we can go ahead and execute startup.python. But like I said, unfortunately I don't have the Python interpreter installed, so I can't do that right now. I think I might actually see if I can do that real quick. Alright, so I went ahead and installed the Python interpreter and made sure that the file associations were correct. So now all we have to do is go and launch startup here. And this works identical to the way that the actual compiled thing works. So now if we type in winver, you'll see that winver actually opens because we modified that code. So yeah, now if you launch a startup using startup.exe here, that's a completely different thing at this point. So if we come into here and we go ahead and wait for it to load, I'm gonna go and log in here, and if we type in winver, it's gonna say that it's not found because that's pre-compiled, right? You would have to do that at this point if you want to have an already compiled thing. You'd have to get the icon file if you want the icon, and then you'd have to use pip to install PyInstaller and compile the new startup.python file. Or because you have the Python interpreter installed, you could just keep on launching it using Python interpreter and make like a shortcut to that. The point is, I want this to be customizable, where you don't even have to really go to GitHub and download the code. You can just have the code do whatever you need it to do, and not pretty much in the most convenient way possible. So that, if you want to change the way that startup goes, if you want to consolidate this all into one file, you can do that too. You don't even have to do it the way I'm doing and make it all this number of files. You can condense this all into one humongous file of code if you absolutely wanted to, but you can just do whatever you want with this code. It's under the MIT license, so that's the most permissive license out there. If you want to change the way cat work, let's say we want to absolutely wreck a cat and say, instead of this, we can have it do print the cat is very happy. If we want to do that and absolutely make it so that the cat command does not work, we can totally do that. This is whatever if you have the knowledge, you can make this work however you want it to. So let's get into documents. And let's say we wanted it to read out modify code notes.txt. You could say the cat is very happy. You can do whatever you want with this if you get the normal installation and out the code here. So yeah, that's about all for this video. There will be more updates coming to Bash from Windows, definitely. I don't know how often, but I know that there's going to be at least one more, because I've had some bugs happened between the release here, and so if you make sure you keep on track with GitHub when I'm putting out there. If you want to update it, all you would have to do is download the latest zip file, and all you have to do is extract the new startup.exe file on top of your old startup.exe file, and you are updated. You don't even have to reinstall. So that is all you need to do. And also, if you want to uninstall this, you'll notice that I did not register something in the control panel, partly because I don't know how to do that with Python. But all you have to do, I made it very simple. There's no registry keys added. There's no crap in the registry. All you have to do is delete this folder, and Bash from Windows is off your system. That's seriously how easy it is. If you don't like Bash from Windows, it is ridiculously easy to uninstall it. All you have to do is delete the actual thing. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you like all my other videos, then please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the boost in subscribers recently. 31 subscribers, yay. And make sure you continue to check this project out on GitHub. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.